The Galactic Academy, Sector 9. Training Base Vortis Primate was the first day of the new training cycle. A total of 112 alien cadets stood in straight lines on the steel floor of the open military yard. The morning wind was sharp, and the orange sun burned low on the horizon. These cadets had come from 14 different star systems, each one chosen for their physical power, intelligence, or speed. Some had claws, others had scales. A few even had wings, and for the first time in history, humans were allowed to join. The commander's voice echoed across the yard. Silence. This is not your planet. This is Vortis Prime. You are here to be tested. Most of you will break. Half of you will quit, and those who remain will become monsters. A nervous chuckle spread through the alien cadets, but the laughter stopped the moment. The human dropship landed. It didn't fly in with sound and glory. No, it arrived like a shadow, silent, cold, blacker than space. When it opened, 5 humans stepped out. They didn't talk. They didn't look around. They walked in perfect formation like they had done this 1,000 times before. And that's when Cadet Growl, a large insectoid from the planet Vuxtora, whispered to his squad. They smell like death. The humans wore no armor. While other species wore full battle gear, the humans wore tight black uniforms. No visible weapons, no helmets. They looked soft, but the silence around them was heavy. Not weak, not confused. It was a silence that made the other cadets' hearts race. There was no fear in the humans' eyes, no emotion, just stillness. The kind that came before something terrible happened. Cadet Varnick.
From the snowy planet Dralosh leaned toward Grail. They are too small.
Too slow. This is a joke. Yes. Growl shook his head. He had fought in underground death pits before joining the academy. He had seen killers. Real ones. These humans didn't look like warriors. They looked like predators pretending to be calm. The first test. Forest ambush simulation. Prepare for your first mission. The cadets were moved to the sim chamber, a massive cube-shaped battlefield where any environment could be created. The first test was simple, a forest ambush scenario. The goal, cross from point A to point B, no real weapons. Just stunners. In training gear. Each team had to move together and avoid enemy bots. 6 teams were formed, each from a different race. The humans didn't ask to lead. They didn't speak to others. They just watched, listened, waited. Simulation begins and ends in Terra, the buzzer sounded. The simulation began. Tall trees missed, and the sound of wind filled the chamber. Alien cadets moved carefully, whispering, watching. One squad of lizard-like warriors took the lead. Another squad of winged Yalari floated above, scanning from the air, but no one saw the humans. They had vanished into the trees. 5 minutes in, 2 alien cadets from Team 3 were found unconscious. Stunners fired at point-blank range. No one saw who did it. At minute 8, a full Yalari flyer was pulled down from the air, stunned and left hanging from a tree. At minute 11, the enemy bots began dropping too, even though they were not part of the objective. The watchers outside stared at the simulation screens in disbelief. The humans weren't just avoiding enemies. They were hunting them. That's not training. That's kill pattern. Commander Relin watched the scene with narrowed eyes, turned to the AI monitor, replayed the human movements. In slow motion, the AI showed the 5 humans splitting into 2 pairs and a solo. No words, no signals, just eye contact and motion. Each one used the terrain, mud, fog, trees to mask movement. They didn't just dodge enemies. They predicted them, flanked them, broke the entire sim design at minute 17. They reached the objective point, alone, unseen, untouched, inside the simulation. The remaining alien cadets looked around in confusion. Where were the humans? Simulation complete. The voice boomed. Team human to 100%. Time, 17 minutes, 32 seconds. Silence followed. Then one alien cadet shouted, angry and scared, "They broke the rules. That wasn't team play. That was assassination." Commander Relin responded sharply. They didn't break the rules, they rewrote them. Back at the barracks that night, the cadets were given food and rest in their sector barracks. Each race had its own quarters. But the humans stayed in the common zone. They didn't talk much, just cleaned their boots, checked their gear, and stared at the training reports like it was routine. Cadet Varnick couldn't stop watching them from across the hallway. He whispered to Growl, "Why do they not laugh? Why do they not relax?" Growls. The voice was low, because they are always in the fight, even when there's no battle. A warning from the instructor later that night. Instructor Zorn, a massive four-armed warrior from planet Druk, gathered the cadets he had fought in over 300 battles, carried 3 war scars, respected across the galaxy. But tonight, the voice was dark. "You think the humans are weak? You think they're quiet because they're afraid? No, they're quiet because they've already calculated how to break you." The room went cold. You were born on peaceful worlds, with rules and order. But humans, their history is blood. Their culture is struggle. Their stories are built on extinction. He paused. If you fight beside them, learn. If you fight against them, pray. Flashback. Earth's selection process interlude. While the alien cadets slept uneasily, the scene flashed back to Earth. 6 months earlier, United Earth Command reviewed over 10,000 elite soldiers to select only 5 for the Galactic Academy. Each one had fought in real wars. Not simulations. They weren't just strong. They were survivors of horrors no alien mind could imagine. Burned cities, bioplagues, deep space isolation, mind-bending AI rebellions. Human history wasn't peaceful. It was a record of constant war, and those selected were not heroes. They were weapons with a name. Return to present fear begins to grow by the 3rd day. Many alien cadets avoided the humans. Some said it was jealousy. Others said it was fear. They walked too calmly, reacted too fast, smiled too little. During a meal, one human Reed shared his tray with a small cadet from the gentle race of Minari. "Eat more protein," he said with a soft smile. "Tomorrow's going to be intense." The cadet nodded nervously, noticing the scar on Reed's neck. "What gave you that?" he asked. Reed paused, eyes unfocused for a second. "Oh, that? Got that fighting my way out of a cannibal bunker. On Europa," he smiled again. The Minari cadet couldn't finish his food. That night, Grawl wrote a private log for his home planet. His mandibles clicked slowly as he spoke into the recorder. Day 3. The humans are different. They don't act like warriors. They act like hunters who already know the outcome. One human sat next to me today. He offered me water. I said thank you. He smiled. But when I looked into his eyes, I saw nothing. Not hate, not anger, just readiness. I think they are always ready to kill. And we are not ready to see what that really means. If they are the future of war, then I fear for peace itself. Day 5, Vortis Prime Military Academy. The alien cadets were still shaken from the forest simulation. Some called it unfair.
Ow.
Others whispered a new name for the humans, Shadow Walkers. They had watched the replays a dozen times, hoping to catch some flaw, a mistake, sign of luck. But there was none. The humans had hunted like wolves, moved like machines, and disappeared like ghosts. That fear had now grown into something worse. Uncertainty. Cadet Jera meets Red Cadet Jera was from the planet Kelvos, a reptilian race with fast reflexes and sharp vision. He had trained for 5 years to get into the academy. He never feared any enemy, but now he avoided eye contact with the humans, except one of them kept showing up. Reed the human with the scarred neck and calm smile. He sat next to Jara in the mess hall again. "You always eat alone," Reed said. With a friendly tone, Jara didn't respond. "Don't worry, I'm not here to bite," Reed chuckled. "Unless the next sim tells me to." Jara tried to smile. It came out awkward, forced. "You enjoy fighting?" Jara finally asked. Reed shrugged. "Not really, but I like surviving. And war. Well, war makes that very clear. You survive or you don't." His smile didn't match the coldness in his eyes. Night simulation, Operation Phantom Ground. Academy announced the next exercise. Operation Phantom Ground objective. Navigate a pitch-black maze. Avoid drones. Rescue a trapped teammate. Silent movement required. Every species protested. No vision, no lights. We are not built for dark operations. The commander's reply was simple. War does not care about your eyes. Inside the darkness, each cadet wore vision-blocking helmets. Only basic sound cues and direction updates were allowed. The environment was cold, silent, and terrifying. Many alien cadets moved slowly, clumsily, whispering, colliding with walls, screaming when a drone flew too close. But Reed, he was laughing. Softly, in complete darkness, he and his team walked with confidence. As if they'd trained this way their whole lives. Jara freezes and hears screaming midway through the sim. Cadet Jara was separated from his team. He turned left when he should have gone right. Now he was alone. This is fine, he told himself. Just stay calm. Suddenly, he heard something screaming. It echoed through the metal halls. It wasn't pain. It was fear. Help me. Got him. They took him. The voice belonged to a yellery flyer. More screaming than silence. Jara's legs froze. His blood ran cold. He sees Reed. In the darkness, Jara stumbled down a hallway and turned a corner. A faint red emergency light flickered. On a wall, and there, standing in complete calm, was Red. He held a wounded human cadet over his shoulder. Blood dripped from the man's side. Reed saw Jara and smiled again. Hey, lizard boy, you okay? Jara just stared. Why was he smiling? Why wasn't he afraid? One of your friends panicked, Reed continued, ran straight into a drone nest. Poor guy didn't even get tagged, just passed out from fear. He gently dropped the wounded cadet and pulled out a small medkit. Stims, Reed said. You ever use these? Jara shook his head. Reed stabbed the needle into his teammate's leg. The human groaned, then sat upright, breathing heavily. He'll be fine, Reed said. Pain is temporary. Mission isn't. Stood up again, that same calm smile on his face. You coming? Or are you going to stand there shaking till the real war starts? Jara followed. He didn't know why. But something inside him trusted the human more than his own race. End of simulation. Fear spreads further back outside the sim chamber. Cadets gathered again. Only 3 alien teams finished the mission. All 5 humans succeeded and helped. Others, when asked how they could navigate in complete darkness, the human response was short. We trained for worst case, wasn't it? Cadet Cern Cracks later that night, a winged cadet named Cern began to shout in the hallway. They smiled in the dark. Who smiles in the dark? That's not normal. That's not how soldiers act. Others tried to calm him down. Cern kept screaming. I saw them. They didn't care. They weren't afraid. They were like shadows. He was taken away for mental evaluation. That night, 6 cadets filed official requests to be removed from night training. Flashback. Earth psychological war training cut to a flashback. Earth, 10 years earlier. A young soldier is strapped to a metal chair. Lights flicker. Alarms blare. Artificial chaos surrounds him. He is forced to complete a tactical puzzle while listening to screams, loud static, and emotional attacks from AI voices. This was called mental pressure conditioning. Humans didn't just train their bodies. They broke their own minds, then rebuilt them stronger. Aliens didn't understand this. Couldn't understand this because they never needed to. Reed's hidden side back at the academy. Reed sat alone. That night on the roof of the barracks, Jara approached him slowly. Why do you smile so much? Jara asked. Reed didn't turn, just kept watching the stars. Because fear smells stronger when you smile. Enemies hesitate. That's all I need. That's messed up, Jara whispered. Reed finally looked at him. You think war is about fairness? About strength? No. War is about breaking the other side before they break you. But Jara paused, unsure how to ask. What if there was? No war? Reed laughed quietly. Then Earth would have to learn how to breathe again. Cadets begin to avoid humans after that night. Many alien cadets avoided any sim involving the humans. Rumors spread that humans could see in the dark, that they used mind control, that they had no fear because they had no souls. But the truth was far simpler. Humans had simply trained harder and darker. Cadet Jara sat in his bunk thinking about everything.
Yes.
The darkness, the screaming, the way Reed smiled. And then he remembered something Reed had said. Fear smells stronger when you smile. It was such a strange, cold sentence, but now it made sense. The humans didn't smile because they were happy. They smiled because they knew everyone else was afraid. A message recorded by an alien instructor, meant only for top galactic command. I have watched over 40 species train under pressure. I have seen brute strength, high-tech precision, even psychic control, but I have never seen anything like the humans. They do not panic. They do not pause. They simply assess, strike, and move. One of them smiled after watching a teammate get wounded. It's not out of joy, but because it was expected. I fear we may have invited monsters into our academy, not because they are evil, but because they've mastered the very thing we fear most. Day 9, Vorta's Prime Military Academy briefing room. The alien cadets sat quietly. No laughter, no side talk. The air was heavy. They had already seen the humans fight in silence. They had seen them move in total darkness. They had seen Reed smile during chaos, but today was different. Today's training would not be physical. It would be mental. The commander entered the room with a grim face. Today's simulation is designed by Earth. You will enter a war zone pulled from human history. It is not fake. It is not sanitized. It is called the Fall of the Red Line. What is the Red Line? The room darkened. A video played. It showed a city in flames. Buildings crumbled. Children screamed. Smoke filled the sky. Text appeared. Earth year, 2134. Location, Europa colony. Casualties, 3.4 million. The video continued. Civilians hiding under rubble, streets full of ash, drones exploding in the air. Then a human voice said, "The enemy crossed the red line." We answered with fire. Aliens watched in horror. This wasn't training. This was hell. Simulation. Instructions: H squad was placed in a role. Rescue units, defense guards, civilian protectors, human command team. The environment was built exactly as it was in Earth's history, down to blood patterns, broken bodies, and real human voices recorded during the event. You will feel heat, smell smoke, hear pain, and you will act. Some cadets looked ready, others looked sick. Entering the nightmare, the sim began. Growls. Squad was placed near a collapsed hospital. Smoke burned his eyes. A child's scream echoed from inside the rubble. He ran to help, pulling broken metal aside, and found a child-sized dummy coughing, crying for a mother. But the dummy looked too real. Skin tone, tear ducts, warmth. It reached for him, saying, "Don't leave me, please." Growl froze. "It's not real. It's not real." Then the sim screamed back, "Real enough to break you." Jara in the streets of Fire. Jara's squad was in a broken street with active gunfire. Enemy bots rained lasers from rooftops behind him. Dozens of civilians screamed, begging for help. His team leader shouted, "We need cover. Jara, move that." Wreck. But Jara wasn't moving. He was watching a woman with her leg blown off. She kept crying, "Where's my son?" He was right behind me. Jara trembled. This wasn't like the forest or the dark maze. This was something worse. This was hopeless. Meanwhile, the humans were calm in another sim zone. Reed and his squad moved through burning streets. "Check that building. Triage inside. Watch for snipers," Reed said voice. steady. Smoke didn't make him cough. Screams didn't slow him. They found civilians. They treated them. Enemy fire. They suppressed it. Explosions. They moved through them. The humans acted like this was normal, because to them, it was. Cadets began to break. The timer still had 20 minutes left. But already, 7 cadets had frozen mid-task. 3 requested to exit sim early. 2 collapsed from psychological stress. 1 alien from the Drenkar species began clawing at his own chest, screaming, "Get me out! This is murder! This is torture!" He was pulled out, shaking, eyes wide open, stuck in trauma. Post-simulation debrief when the sim ended. The room was silent. No one cheered. No one smiled. Not even the humans, cadets, sat with blank faces. Some had tears in their eyes. One instructor walked slowly across the room. This was not fiction. This was a moment in human history. The fall of the Red Line really happened. Millions died. Thousands were children. And yet, they survived. They rebuilt. They trained to prevent it from happening again. A pause. This is why Earth soldiers fight like they do. Because they were born from this. Cadet Pharaohs loses control. Cadet Pharaohs from the floating city of Ventari stood and shouted, "You call this training? This is trauma. This is a crime." Turned to the humans. "How do you live with this? How do you not go insane?" Reed responded quietly. "We did go insane. Then we came back stronger." No one responded because there was nothing left to say. Flashback. Earth's real-life combat sim rooms. Back on Earth. Human soldiers often entered full memory combat replays, not for training, but for healing. They relived their worst moments, felt every scream, every loss, every burn, then they talked and learned and kept moving. Because on Earth, if you couldn't carry pain, you couldn't carry a weapon. Jara visits the humans later that evening. Jara stood outside the humans' quarters. He knocked once. Reed opened the door, surprised. "Everything okay, Lizard Boy?" Jara didn't laugh at the nickname this time. "I wanted to ask, did you lose someone in the Red Line?" Reed stepped aside and pointed to a photo on the wall. "For human soldiers, smiling, my brother." He was part of the civilian shield. He made it halfway before the building collapsed. Jara stared at the photo. "I'm sorry." Reed nodded. "I'm not. He saved 32 people. That's not something to cry about." Jara felt something heavy in his chest. Humans didn't train just to win. They trained to never lose again. Message to Galactic Command. Private message sent from Vortis Prime. Command to the Galactic Union headquarters. The simulation based on Earth's Red Line incident has left serious impact on multiple cadets. Half failed. A few may not return. The humans, however, handled it with complete control. It is clear they are shaped by pain in a way we do not understand. Perhaps that is why. They win wars no one else dares fight. That night, Jara added a new log entry for his home planet. They say trauma can destroy the mind, that some memories are too heavy to carry, but I've seen humans carry them like shields. They walk through fire not because they enjoy it, but because they've done it before. They do not fight like soldiers. They fight like people who have already lost everything once, and will never let it happen again. Day 13 War Room. Vortis Prime, the alien cadets gathered once again. But this time, the room felt different. No one whispered. No one cracked jokes. The recent simulation, Earth's fall of the Red Line, had broken many. Some cadets still hadn't returned. Few were being treated for post-sim trauma. Yet the humans stood silently in the corner, calm, focused, untouched. Reed adjusted his gloves and reviewed the mission screen like he was preparing for a morning walk. Even now, after everything, he still smiled. Commander Relin steps forward. Today begins your first full-scale battle simulation. Real tactics. Multiple teams, large terrain. Your mission, defend the base. You have 3 hours. Enemy forces, AI-controlled assault bots, armored vehicles, and surprise elements. If the flag falls, your team fails. This is called Endline Protocol. Lights dimmed. A holographic map glowed above the room showing mountains, tunnels, rivers, and a command center at the center. Some of you will run, others will panic. Relin looked at the alien cadets. Then he turned to the humans. And some of you will do what humans always do. Entering the simulation, the battlefield loaded. The environment was massive. A full valley, thick forests, icy cliffs, and hidden bunkers. Each squad was assigned zones to defend. Jera's squad was placed near a ravine. They were given pulse rifles and tactical HUDs. Graal's squad held the bridge, limited cover, exposed angles, and the humans. They were placed right in the center base, the last line of defense. Why not put them at the front? Jara whispered. Because Grail answered, they are the last ones the enemy should meet. The battle begins. The first wave hit hard. Drones dropped from the sky. Enemy bots stormed the front lines. Aliens opened fire, shouting to each other, calling out positions. Some fought well, others scattered, overwhelmed by the chaos. Jera tried to focus, blasting 2 drones before one hit his shoulder. Simulated pain burned his skin. Cadet Varnick retreats, say nearby squad, led by Cadet Varnick, faced a heavy assault on the west slope. Explosions rocked the hill. His wing was hit. 2 team members fell. We're losing ground, Varnick shouted. Fall back, fall back. He started running, waving others to follow. Then he heard a voice, cold, loud, direct. We don't retreat, we reload. Varnick turned and saw Reed walking toward the slope. His rifle smoking, no fear, no pause. He stepped into the line of fire, pulled a drone out of the air with one hand, slammed it down, and kept moving. You retreat, they chase, you hold. They bleed. Reed tossed a fresh mag into Varnick's weapon and kept walking. Reload, soldier. Don't run. The humans hold the line. Enemy bots breached the central base perimeter. But the 5 humans didn't panic. They adjusted their formation, switched to close-quarter stunners, and cut down wave after wave of attackers. One alien drone tried to flank. Reed broke its head open with a shovel. Another bot hit his leg. He wrapped a tourniquet mid-combat and kept fighting. Alien commander watches in shock from the monitoring room. Instructor Zorn stared at the live feed. They are outnumbered 6-1. They weren't breaking. In fact, they were winning. They don't wait for orders, Zorn said. Just act. And when they take hits, he pointed at the screen. We're a human cadet. Bleeding was using his own body to shield a communication console. They don't fall back. They move forward faster. Jera's squad is pinned. Reed arrives on the east cliff. Jera's squad was under heavy fire. A mortar had collapsed half their cover. One cadet screamed, begging for evacuation. We're trapped, Jara shouted. Suddenly a flare lit the sky. Then, silence. The enemy bots stopped firing. Jara peeked over the rubble. There was Reed, walking straight toward them with smoke bombs in both hands, tossing them left and right behind him. 3 humans moved like shadows, taking out bots one by one. Let's get you home, Reed said. End of simulation, silence in the debrief room when the final buzzer rang. Only 43 cadets remained standing. Every human was still up, bruised, cut, but up, Commander. Relin entered the room. He didn't speak for a full minute. Then he looked at the alien squads. Many of you fought well, but when the pressure rose, most of you chose survival over success. He turned to the humans. They didn't retreat, they didn't panic, they held the line. You call it madness, I call it military instinct. Flashback. Earth, urban warfare, no retreat drills back on Earth. In a crumbling city training site, young soldiers practice holding positions against impossible odds. They are told no escape, no reinforcements, only your team. Every failure resets the drill. It continues until they hold without flinching. That's what humans are taught. When the world burns, you stay in the fire. Alien cadets begin to question. Everything in the showers? Jara speaks with Growl. How do they keep standing? Growl shrugs. Because they don't believe in falling. Not just trained for battle, he added. They're trained for loss. Pain, death, Jara whispered. They don't retreat. They reload. Growl nodded. Not just a line. That's their way of life. Final scene, a quiet talk. Reed sat alone, cleaning his weapon. Jara approached him. You saved us, Jara said. Reed didn't look up. Next time save yourselves. Jara paused. Do you? Like war? Reed looked up tired, serious. No, but I respect it. He stood, holstered his rifle, and walked away, because when things fall apart, only the prepared survive. A secret report sent from Galactic Union's Behavioral Analysis Division. After 4 simulations, human cadets have shown high control, tactical precision, and emotional resilience far above other species. Most shocking, their refusal to retreat even when wounded, outnumbered, or trapped. This is not bravery. This is a mindset bred from a species that knows extinction personally. They reload because surrender never worked. For them, and if they're teaching that to others, the galaxy may never fight the same again. Day 16, Combat Zone Briefing Hall after the last battle sim. The mood in the academy had changed. Alien cadets still trained, still competed, but now they watched the humans. Differently, not with rivalry, but with uneasy respect. They had seen what happened when the humans held the line. Now they wondered what would happen if one fell. The mission hostage rescue operation in his test was a special scenario. Simulated hostages taken by enemy AI bots. You must infiltrate, neutralize, and extract without triggering alarms. 40 minutes. No second chances. Alien teams reviewed maps. Human teams cleaned their gear in silence. Cadet Garan, from the aquatic world of Lareth, was assigned as recon support for one of the human squads. He was nervous. Reed walked past him, calm as always. Ready to swim through fire, fish boy? Joked. Garan managed a small laugh, but his hands were shaking. Infiltration begins the sim loaded. An underground bunker maze. Dark and narrow. 4. Alien squads entered from different sides. Reed's squad went in first. Their movements were precise. No wasted motion. Hand signals only. It's not a sound. Garan watched from a high crawl space, scanning enemy movement. Squad 3, hallway clear, he whispered. Reed nodded without looking up. Then everything goes wrong 23 minutes in. The lead cadet, Louisa Human, stepped on a pressure plate. The explosion was instant. Flames, smoke, screams. Luis was thrown against the wall, his leg caught in fire. Reed dashed to him, pulled him to cover. Stay with me, medkit, now. Garan panicked. Abort. Abort the sim. But Reed didn't. Luis is dying and still fighting. Luis coughed blood, voice weak. Keep going. Get the hostages. Reed's voice was cold. Focused. No, we. Finish this together. But Luis grabbed Reed's collar and whispered, mission first.
Oh.
I'll hold him off. Reed froze, then nodded. Without a goodbye, without hesitation. He took the squad forward. Luis pulled 2 smoke grenades from his vest and dragged himself to the hallway. The last Garan saw was Luis crawling toward danger, blood pouring as the enemy drones rushed in. Then dash static. Mission succeeds.
Ace.
But not everyone returns. The hostages were saved. All enemy bots neutralized. But Luis didn't make it. The cadets exited the sim with stunned faces. Garan's skin had changed color, sign of stress in his species. He knew he would die, he whispered, and still chose it. No one replied. The debrief, no mourning, only memory back in the debrief room. Garan waited for a ceremony, at a eulogy. A pause. Instead, the human squad sat quietly, reviewing. Footage of Luis's movements before the explosion. This angle here saved us 2 seconds, one human said. Yeah, and the grenade throw cleared the south path, another added. Reed tapped a screen. Use his position for future breach plans. He bought us data. Garan couldn't believe what he was hearing. He died, and you're analyzing him like equipment. Reed looked up, gave his life. Now we make it worth something? Alien. Cadets start to break down that night. Garan sat alone in the cafeteria. Jara joined him. You okay, Garan? Shook his head. I thought humans feared death, but they don't. They fear wasting life. He paused. Luis didn't want tears. He wanted improvement. Kara whispered. What kind of people? Use death as training? Flashback. Earth's fallen soldier, Doctrine Earth Year, 2140, military. Unit 12 loses 3 members in a failed deep space rescue, instead of funerals. The squad watches every helmet cam, every decision, and builds new strategies from the mistakes. Each fallen soldier is honored not with flowers, but with a lesson. Plan on Earth, death is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of someone else's survival. Graal faces the truth the next morning. Graal visits Reed in the gym. "Do you ever grieve?" he asks. Reed stops lifting. "Of course. Then why don't you show it?" Reed looks up, serious, steady. "Because grief can't stop bullets." He stands. "Luis is gone. If I cry now, I might miss the next shot. I'll cry later, when it's over." Alien instructors begin to worry a private conversation between 2 high-ranking alien officers. These humans, they process loss differently.
"We train to
avoid death, they train to use it. Their strength is terrifying, because they don't just fight to win, they fight to honor the fallen." Guran's log entry that night, Guran recorded a message for his home world. Luis gave his life and never expected thanks. His team didn't stop, they didn't break. They watched his death and became better because of it. We fear death as the worst thing, but to humans, failing the mission is worse. To them, pain is temporary. Loss is fuel, and death is only a teacher. A hidden memo from the Galactic Psychological Council: human behavior in simulations suggests extreme mental detachment from death during missions. This is not cruelty. It is programming, cultural conditioning. We believe human. Cadets view sacrifice as a necessary tool, not a tragedy. If this mindset spreads, war will become colder, faster, more efficient, and peace may no longer depend on fear, but on humans choosing not to fight. Day 18, Fortis Prime Academy Assembly Grounds. The morning began with empty bunks. 4 cadets from the Yellowry species were gone. No message, no explanation. Just gone. By noon, 5 more races had submitted exit requests. The academy staff tried to hide it, but the news spread quickly. Cadets were quitting. Fast whispers echoed through the corridors. "It's the humans. This isn't training. It's survival. And we're not built for it. They don't break."
What?
"We do." The official announcement at midday, Commander Relin summoned all remaining cadets to the main hall. The atmosphere was tense, quiet. As of now, 37 cadets have officially withdrawn from the program. Gasps, murmurs, shock. Relin raised a hand. "Some have called this unfair. Others call it dangerous. But let me remind you, this is not about fairness. This is about readiness." He looked across the room, pausing at the human squad. "And some of you are more ready than the rest of us." Back in the barracks, silence among species Grohl, Jera, Gran sat together in silence. None of them had eaten. The room felt colder than usual. "This isn't just a test anymore," Gran said quietly. "No," Jera added. "This is war school for them. For us, it's training. For them, it's life." Growl finished. They looked across the hall. The human team was sharpening their gear, checking maps, polishing weapons. Not one of them had reacted to the exit news. Reed's journal, voice log entry, 37, down. "More will go soon. It's not their fault. Most species don't know war, not real war. They think war is about orders and honor. But we know war is about doing the ugly thing, so someone else doesn't have to. If they don't want that weight, I won't stop them. So I'll carry it." Simulation prep. One last trial before any final evaluations. A new scenario was scheduled. Operation Fracture Shield. Objective: protect a civilian convoy through hostile territory. Cadets were split into mixed species teams. Graal, Gura, and Guran found themselves assigned under human command. Their leader: Reed. Alien reaction: "I don't want to be in his team." One cadet, a young soldier from the sparkling plains of Aluxi, froze after seeing his assignment. "No, I can't. I won't be under a human again." He walked out of the prep room and never returned. Another cadet refused to even speak. Once Reed gave instructions, yet Reed said nothing. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply moved on. Growl's question as the team prepared to enter the sim chamber. Growl approached Reed. Why do you stay quiet when others run? Reed shrugged, because the ones who stay don't need to be convinced. Inside. The simulation, the convoy, is hidden minutes in. The convoy was ambushed. Drones hit the lead truck. Fires erupted. Screams from AI civilians filled the air. A cadet panicked and ran toward the flames. Reed tackled him before he reached the trap. You move with emotion, you die with emotion, the cadet shouted. But those voices are recordings. You want to save fake lives and lose real ones? Reed pointed to the ridge. Enemy flanking. Focus. The team moved. Like a machine. Midway through a real breakdown, one of the Aluxi cadets dropped her rifle. She couldn't move. I can't do this. This isn't me. Reed knelt beside her. Then go. But if you stay, you follow. No fear. No debate. She looked into his eyes. There was no anger in them. Just one thing. Certainty. She dropped her gear and ran. Another cadet followed her. That made it 43 exits back. In the command room, Shock Rose Instructor Zorn turned to Commander Relin. We're losing them. One by one. Relin nodded slowly. They've seen what humans endure, and they know they can't match it. This isn't failure. This is evolution, or extinction. Growl, Jara, and Guran hold the line despite the chaos. Growl, Jara. And Guran stayed with Reed's team. They fought harder than ever. Why? Because they realized something terrifying. They were learning more from the humans than they ever learned from their own species, and that realization changed them forever. Mission complete. 12 cadets remaining by the end of the simulation. Only 12 cadets out of over 100 completed the mission. 5 were human. 3 were the aliens who stayed close to them. The rest, quiet, ashamed. Gone. End of day. Guran speaks the truth that night. Guran sat in the dark, recording his log. More cadets have left. I don't blame them, because we came here to become soldiers. But the humans? They came here already forged in blood. We thought this was education. They knew it was preparation. This academy didn't break us. They did. And somehow I thank them for it. Message from the Galactic Academy office by day 18. Over 60% of non-human cadets have exited the program. Many cited physical exhaustion. Others admitted psychological collapse. But we know the real reason. They saw what the humans endure, and they saw themselves fall short. The exit has begun, but what remains may change the future of war forever. Day 20. Only 12 cadets remain. What was once a group of 140 elite alien cadets was now just 12 or half were human. The rest, survivors, changed. Hardened, Jara, Growl, and Guran sat quietly in the morning fog. No one laughed. No one spoke. They were no longer just cadets. They were different now. The final announcement. Commander Relin stepped forward on the training grounds. His face was tight. Serious. This is your last simulation. It will be unlike anything you've perdoned. Faced before, it is not a mission. It is a mirror. He paused. You will not be graded on success. You will be judged on truth. A long silence. Then he spoke 2 words. Enter alone. Isolation. Isolation. Each cadet was placed into a separate room. No weapons. No teammates. Only a screen in front of them. Black. Silent. Then words appeared. You have failed the mission. Your team is dead. The enemy is coming. You have 5 minutes. What do you do? Or Jara's test. Break, or think Jara's screen. Kept showing images. His team's bodies. Burning, screaming. His breathing got heavy. Heart racing. This isn't real. It isn't real. The screen hissed back. If it feels real, does it matter? Then came the final prompt. Take your own life to avoid capture or survive, and risk betraying your species. Jara froze. His hands shook. His tail twitched. He screamed. And then he threw the screen to the floor and shouted, "I won't choose. I'll make a third way." The screen went black. Graal's test, obey or disobey. Graal's room was colder. His screen showed his homeworld on fire. A timer appeared. Launch the missile and save your squad. Do nothing and save your planet. His claws dug into the chair. He stared. He whispered, "I don't. I can't." He finally stood, stepped away from the console. "I won't be your weapon." The screen went black. Guran's test, speak or stay silent. Guran's screen showed Reed, wounded and screaming for help. Behind him, a locked door filled with civilians. He could only save one. Rescue your commander. Or save the innocents. He looked into the image. Then he shouted, Reed would want the civilians saved. And he pressed the button. The door opened. The screen turned off, and Reed's test. Reed entered his sim with quiet eyes. His screen didn't show pain. It showed a field empty, peaceful. A message appeared. There is no war here. Lay down your weapon and live. Keep training for a war that may never come. Stared then, he picked up a rock, scratched words into the floor. If peace exists, it's because people stayed ready. He stood, folded his hands behind his back, waited. The screen blinked once and shut down. The debrief. A room with no answers back in the evaluation chamber. The 12 remaining cadets sat in silence. Commander Relin entered with 3 other high-ranking officers. You all passed, Grell blinked. But none of us won, Relin nodded, because the point was not to win. He looked at the humans. Earth does not train to win battles. Earth trains to survive their own minds. A hidden truth revealed. The lights dimmed. A new screen appeared. It's not part of any simulation. It showed historical footage. Earth, years ago, cities destroyed. Nations erased. Human and human warfare that lasted centuries. Before Earth ever faced alien threats, they survived each other. They weren't made strong by unity. They were forged in chaos. They made peace. After learning how to destroy everything they loved, the Academy's real purpose, Commander Relin turned to the remaining cadets. This Academy was not designed to teach humans. It was designed to understand them. Gasps, and every alien who stayed became something more than a soldier. You became witnesses to the truth of Earth. They are not powerful because of tech or genetics. They are powerful because they are willing to do what others fear. Reed's final words to the group outside. On the final evening, the 12 cadets gathered around a fire pit. No training, no gear, just stories. Guran turned to Reed. Why did you never give up? Reed looked into the flames. Because someone else always gave up first. And every time, someone paid the price. Jara asked, Do you think we can ever be like you? Reed shook his head. No, and that's not the goal. He smiled. But if you can walk beside us, that's enough. Final message. From the Academy, a broadcast was sent to all allied planets. Of 140 alien cadets, only 7 completed the Earth integrated program. All 5 humans passed. Conclusion. Human combat conditioning is not replicable by most known species. But exposure to Earth's training produces lasting changes. For those who stayed, they're not the same. And 4. Those who left, perhaps they were right to fear what they saw. Graal's final log to his home world. We thought we were training with soldiers. We were wrong. We were training with survivors. Survivors don't fight for pride or trophies. They fight because they've already buried too many friends. The galaxy feared Earth's weapons. But we saw the real truth. Earth's most dangerous weapon is the human mind. 1 month later, Vorta's prime graduation ceremony. The Grand Hall was built for 200 cadets. Only 12 seats were filled. 5 humans, 7 aliens. The silence in the room wasn't awkward. It was earned. Carried the weight of everything they had survived. Flags of dozens of planets hung overhead. But all eyes were on one symbol now, the Earth Standard. A dark blue flag with a single white line crossing the center. The line meant something now, to the survivors. It meant pain, sacrifice, and discipline that had nearly broken them. But it also meant truth. Commander Relin speaks, You came here thinking strength was about speed or skill. But you learned what humans already knew. Strength is what remains when everything else breaks. He looked at the 7 alien cadets. He didn't just finish a program, cross the threshold most won't even approach. He turned to the humans, and you carried the weight of who you are. Pause. You all now bear something terrifying, the burden of understanding. Private conversation. The survivors talk later. In a quiet lounge, Jara, Graal, Garan, and the humans sat around a dim table. No uniforms. Just people. It's strange, Garan said. I came here thinking humans were reckless beasts, and now? Reed asked. Garan sipped his drink slowly. Now I think you're the only species truly preparing for the worst. Jara nodded. We're not soldiers. Not like you. Not yet. Reed leaned forward. You're closer than you think. Back home, shock and suspicion when the alien cadets returned to their home planets. Reactions were complicated. Some worlds welcomed them as heroes. Others questioned their minds, their loyalty. Many whispered, You stayed with the humans? You didn't run? On Jara's world, a council meeting asked him directly, Do you believe we should adopt Earth's methods? Jara looked them in the eye. I don't believe we can, but I believe we must try. The change in their eyes age. Of the 7 alien cadets returned with something new in their posture. Not arrogance. Not pride. Stillness. Like people who had seen something terrible. And didn't flinch. Graal visited his old training squad. They laughed at first, joking about his time with the Earthbloods, till he disarmed one of them in 2 moves. Until they saw how quiet his eyes had become. They stopped laughing. Earth soldiers vanish into the shadows as for the humans. They didn't celebrate. They didn't boast. They quietly packed their things and returned to wherever Earth needed them next. Reed left only one note behind in his bunk. We don't fight for medals. We fight so no one else has to. Secret. Meeting Galactic Council warnings. In a private chamber of the Galactic Council, military analysts met. The experiment is complete. The humans influenced every species they touched. Psychological hardening. Tactical shifts. New ideologies. And it wasn't even war, just training. One official said, if this spreads, there'll be no more room for weakness in the galaxy. Another responded, maybe that's exactly what Earth wants. Final letters from the survivors each. Alien Cadet was asked to write a reflection for the next class. Here are a few excerpts. Jara wrote, Don't enter this program unless you're ready to feel fear, pain, and shame. Don't come to win. Come to learn why you lose. If you're lucky, a human might just teach you how to rise again, Graal wrote. They don't yell. They don't brag. But when the fire comes, they walk into it. Don't try to be a human. Learn to fight beside one, Garan wrote. Earth's strength doesn't lie in their muscles or tech. It lies in their ability to suffer and still move forward. 5 years later, a new war breaks. Outa hostile, fleet began tearing through the rim colonies. Most forces hesitated. The galaxy wasn't ready, but 7 officers from different races moved in fast. They coordinated. Calmly, they took positions with brutal precision. They didn't panic when the tide turned. They didn't retreat, because they remembered what the humans taught them. Pain is not the signal to stop. It's the signal to keep going. Their units held, and the line never broke. A historian's record entry. 5 years after the Earth's integration program, only 12 cadets finished. But those 12 changed everything. The galaxy watched them fight differently. Somewhere in the darkness, the humans smiled. Because now, the universe was finally learning how to survive. 10 years later, Outer Rim Colony 112X, the outpost lay silent under a red sky. Torn buildings, cracked towers, burned transport ships. A single distress beacon blinked faintly in the dust. This is Colony 112X. Repeat. We have been attacked. Unknown enemy. Please, then silence. The Galactic Council received the message, but no one moved. The attacker had left no survivors, no trace, just one symbol carved into the colony wall. A burning planet with a slash across it. Not pirates. Not machines. Something worse. Council emergency meeting. Dozens of alien leaders sat in panic. This wasn't a raid, one said. It was a message. From who? Another asked. Nothing we've faced matches this signature. They turned to the intelligence director. She stood slowly and played a short clip, grainy, shaky video pulled from a dying drone. 5 shapes moving through fire and smoke. Not mechanical, not alien, human, but not earthborn. A voice speaks. The recording continued. A voice came through the static, cold, emotionless. You learned from Earth's heroes. Now you'll face their shadows. Then it cut out. The Rebirth Program, a secret project the Council scrambled to understand, buried deep in Earth's old files. One code name appeared. Revenant. A rogue training program rumors spoke of. Earth creating a parallel force made of discarded soldiers, failed clones, and war-broken veterans hardened beyond humanity. They weren't meant to protect Earth, the file read. They were Plan B. For when diplomacy fails, no names, no medals. Only mission. Back on Guron's homeworld, the Recall now a commander, Guron stood before his own cadets. When the message arrived, they've returned. He knew what they meant. Red? One cadet asked. Guron shook his head. No, not red. Worse. The ones who disappeared without graduation, ones Earth never claimed. They were trained the same, but made to win at any cost. Flashback, a memory Reed never spoke of back during the early days at Vortis Prime. Reed once sat alone under a moonlit sky. Grail had asked him, "Why do you never talk about your past?" Reed had simply replied, "Because not all of us were. Trained to return home, some of us were trained to make sure no one followed." Alien worlds panic. Earth is silent. The galaxy begged Earth for answers. No reply, no fleet mobilization, no denial, no help, just silence, as if Earth was watching, or already knew. Jara's response, Jara, now an ambassador and battle veteran, was pulled into the council. We learned from Earth, but we never understood all of it. We faced the others. If these revenants are real, then they're more than weapons. They're what happens when humanity stops holding back. A pause. You trained beside their warriors and thought they were dangerous? You haven't seen the ones they locked away. New training begins under human teachings across the galaxy. New academies open, not to copy Earth's old training, but to survive the coming threat. And who led these new academies? Not humans, but the 7 alien survivors. The cadets who once stayed when everyone else quit. They taught the new generation Earth's lessons. Hold the line, feel fear, but move anyway. Reload before you retreat. Honor the fallen by learning. And when peace fails, don't flinch. On a dead moon orbiting a black gas giant, a figure stands alone. Black armor, scarred hands, a cracked Earth badge on his chest. A revenant who watches the stars, whispers to himself, "They trained you to survive. We were trained to end it." Loads a weapon that hums with energy never seen before. He turns. Soon, they'll remember the part of Earth they chose to forget. End quote. Final series Closer Galactic broadcast. Encrypted message from an unknown source. You thought Earth's greatest fear was extinction? You were wrong. Fear was letting the rest of the galaxy become like them. Now it's too late. Setting Galactic Crisis Command 1 year after the Revenant sightings. Revenants had attacked 6 colonies. No survivors. Every fleet sent after them vanished. Entire planets now refused to send troops. Even withdrew from the Galactic. Alliance in every corner of the galaxy. One question remained. Why won't Earth respond? Billions asked. None got answers until now. An old signal activates in an ancient communications relay station, orbiting planet Torvin 3. A message broke through the static. It bypassed ferals. It decrypted itself. It played once in all languages. Across every system, Earth acknowledges the breach. Engagement Protocol Titan is now active. 8. All non-human observers are to stand down. This is not your war. Then came the sound of marching boots. Then silence. Jara-Guran. In Graal. Hear the call now leaders in their own defense fleets. The three alien veterans stared at the broadcast. Jarl stood slowly. They're finally stepping in, Guran muttered. What took them so long? Jara looked toward the stars and said, because we were their test. And now we've failed. Earth's secret fleet awakens, somewhere deep in a dark nebula. A colossal ship powered by gravity reactors unfolded its wings. It had no markings, no colors, just one name printed and faded. ESS NEMI size inside were Earth's finest. Ghosts, shadows, soldiers erased from public records, and at the head of them, Commander Reed. Still alive, still waiting. Reed's returning a cold metal room. Reed stepped forward and briefed his crew. They've gone to far revenants weren't supposed to survive, but they adapted. He turned to a screen showing a dozen familiar faces. Graal, Jara-Guran. They tried to become like us. Some did. Most broke. But now, they need to know what Earth really is, young officer asked. Are we going public? Reed answered. We're not here to explain. We're here to end it. Flashback Earth's last warning before silence 10 years ago. After the training program ended, Earth sent one final encrypted message to the Galactic Council. Earth will remain silent unless the galaxy begins to mirror our darkness. If you wake what we buried, you do so at your own risk. Let our strength remain forgotten, for your sake. The Council ignored it. Now they remembered Guran's choices. Ships gathered above his planet. Guran faced a hard decision. The Council wanted him to fight Earth's incoming fleet. He refused. If they've chosen to speak, it means it's already too late to stop them. Our only option now is to follow or flee. Planetary panic, but Earth doesn't attack then. Something unexpected happened. Earth's fleet didn't destroy a single city. They landed silently in the dead colonies hit by the revenants. Within hours, they wiped the revenants out, without a word. Some say they didn't use weapons, they used memories. Others say they reprogrammed pain itself. No proof. No recordings, just rumors. But the revenants were gone. Earth broadcasts one final message once the operation ended. Earth sent one last message directly into the minds of every galactic leader. This was your first warning. Do not attempt to copy us again. Train, evolve, fight if you must.
Ow.
But do not imitate monsters unless you're willing to become them. We are not proud of who we are. We are what the universe made us. Remember that? Before you awaken the next nightmare. Earth vanishes again. After that, Earth's fleets disappeared. No trace. No signal. Even the old academy was gone. Like they had never existed. But the survivors remembered. Jaraz. Final log entry. We thought we had learned all we could from Earth. We were wrong. We studied their strength, but not their silence. We copied their methods, but not their burden. Now we know Earth doesn't fight for power. They fight to stay quiet. Because when Earth speaks, the galaxy shakes. Hidden file on an old human satellite. Activated only in emergency. We are not your heroes. You're not your teachers, or your consequence. Time skipped to 2 years after Earth's last broadcast. The galaxy entered a strange age. The revenant threat was gone. Earth had vanished again. No attacks, no warnings, nothing. Some believed Earth had finally rested. Others thought they were simply waiting again, but then something unexpected happened. A new transmission, not encrypted, not threatening, appeared across the galaxy. Simple, direct, spoken in every known language. We come in peace, but not the way you think. Confusion begins. The message was broadcast across thousands of planets. We come in peace. At first, everyone relaxed, until someone decoded the signals. Met it. It wasn't a welcome. It was a warning. A historical flashback. What peace means on Earth. Footage that followed in the broadcast was chilling. Old Earth wars. Armies landing in enemy territory, saying we come in peace. Before detonating bunkers and breaking resistance, soldiers in black armor offering handshakes to dictators, then overthrowing them hours later. We come in peace. It was not a promise on Earth. It was a condition. Reaction now, a battle strategist for an interspecies coalition, Growl slammed the console. They're not threatening us. They're reminding us. Peace, to Earth, is the state where nothing threatens survival. And if you do, you lose the right to peace. Message analysis. What Earth really meant, intelligence divisions across the galaxy broke the phrase down. We come in. Peace. If you resist peace, you become a target. If you threaten peace, they remove you. If you fear peace, they prepare for your attack. On Earth, peace is only earned through strength. It is not the default. Jara faces the Senajara. Called back as a representative, speaks to a new generation of leaders. We thought Earth's silence meant rest. But silence is the sound their weapons make when they're already in position. Gasps. They are not seeking war. But they are preparing for the moment we forget what they are. He looked around the chamber, and I think we just did. The sim tests return, but their different Earth's training program mysteriously reopened. But this time, no humans were instructors. Only AI units. No feedback. No praise. No comfort. Just impossible simulations. Enemies that never slept. Scenarios with no winning option. Lessons in hopelessness and how to move forward anyway. Some cadets tried. Most quit by day 3. Guran's students Iskaran. A lead instructor gathered his own alien cadets. One asked, "Why train like this? There's no enemy now." Guran's response was quiet, because Earth doesn't train for the enemy in front of them. They train for the one they can't see yet. That's what peace means to them. Readiness. A lost Earth document surfaces in a hidden archive beneath a destroyed colony. The document is found, an old Earth manual labeled Peace Doctrine, Level 9 Clearance. The opening paragraph reads, "Peace is not the absence of war. Peace is the presence of people willing to do violence so others don't have to. True peace requires monsters who never choose to wake up, unless they must." A new threat emerges as the galaxy debates Earth's return, a deep space. Probe vanishes, then another. A final signal shows a non-humanoid species, moving like shadows across a broken moon. No patterns. No communication. Just one thing. They do not fear humans. And that terrifies everyone. Jara sends the first message. "Earth, if you're listening, well, I understand now. Peace was never your weakness. It was your warning. And we need that warning again." No reply. But the Earth training program updated instantly. Sim difficulty increased to tier Doomsday. Cadet failures will no longer be logged. Only those who adapt survive. Final scene. A human steps from the shadows. A hooded figure steps off a transport ship in an abandoned system. Alone. Carned. A child nearby asks, "Are you from Earth?" The human doesn't smile, just replies, "That depends. Are you ready for peace?" Galactic translation, authority memo. We have revised the dictionary definition of the word peace in all systems. Old definition, harmony.com. The absence of war. New definition, Earth origin. A temporary silence bought by the readiness to end threats before they grow. Usage. Earth came in peace, so the galaxy would never force them to come in war. The edge of explored space. Deep void Sector A patrol ship drifted near a dead system. Silent. No suns. No warmth. Just darkness. The crew picked up something strange, not a signal, but a hole in space. One of the scanners went blind, then another. Then, the crew received one final internal message. They are watching. Then the ship was gone. Grawl gets the footage from his command post orbiting Varianine. Grawl reviewed the last seconds of the patrol ship's data. No enemies were seen. Only shadows that moved without mass. They didn't walk. They folded. What kind of physics is this? Grawl whispered. He forwarded the footage to the only source he trusted. Earth's black level channel. Earth responds. For real? This TEMA transmission came in instantly. This is Echo Station. Terminate all scans. Burn all logs. Do not send probes. Do not engage. We're sending someone. And then, coordinates a location no one should enter. Jara, watching beside Grawl, turned pale. They're serious. Grail nodded. Because for once, they're not sure we're strong enough. The arrival of Echo Squad 3 ships emerged silently over the dead system. No markings. Each bore the name of a myth. S. Cerberus, ESS Leviathan, ESS Thanatos inside. Each elite human operators in non-standard armor, loaded with tech no one else, had clearance to understand at their head, not read. Someone knew cod name, no rank, no name. Just silence and presence. Alien observers allowed Earth, allowed only 3 observers. Growl War Tactician Jara, Diplomatic Specialist, Garan Cultural Analyst. When they arrived aboard the ESS Cerberus, they were met with quiet stares. No. Greetings, no warmth, just cold soldiers prepping silently. Is this how they always act before a mission? Garan whispered. A human beside him finally spoke. No, this is how they act when they don't expect to return. The briefing. Room Commander Vance stood at the center. Lights dimmed. He pointed at the map. Nothing visible. We're dealing with an intelligence that exists between perception. We don't fight it. We limit its access to us. You will wear neurodampers at all times. No names, no emotion. No memories during combat. Jara frowned. Why hide our thoughts? Vant finally looked at him. Because it feeds on who you are. The first encounter, no weapons fired in the void system. S. Leviathan dropped a sensor buoy. Seconds later, it vanished. Not destroyed. Dunned. Just erased from reality. The ship's AI began repeating itself. A soldier convulsed and went brain-dead. No. Shots fired. No ship seen. Only whispers through the coms. I see you. You don't belong here. Growl clutched the chair. Garan closed his eyes. Even Vant paused. That was when Grawl realized. Even the humans look afraid. Emergency extraction Earth forces did not engage. Instead, they purged all data, evacuated the sector, and sealed the coordinates with gravitational. Mines Commander Vent left one final warning. This isn't war. This is containment. And it only works if you stop trying to understand. Post-mission debrief. Grawl's breakdown back at Veronine. Grawl reviewed his logs. He found black gaps in his memory. Missing words. Missing R's. He wrote in his journal, I am a soldier. I have seen death. I have trained beside humans. But this is something humans fear. And I now understand why. Jara's public address to the Galactic Council, you wanted Earth's strength. Now you've seen their limits. For the first time in history, they did not offer victory. They offered retreat. The senator scoffed. So, what now? Do we hide? Jara responded. No. We learn what it means to be vigilant Earth's way. Earth's final directive, a new document leaked, written in ancient Terran dialect, titled simply, The Silence Protocol. One sentence stood out. When fear has no face, give it none to feed on. When the unknown reaches out, they do not reach back. Commander Vant, alone in a black room, records a voice log. It tested us, and it let us leave. Which means it's not done yet. He looks up at a screen, a star map flashing unknown sectors now corrupted by noise. We train the galaxy to fight enemies of flesh and steel. Now we must train them for something worse, the enemy that lives in fear itself.